because she hadn't told me. And she ended up reaching out to me a few weeks later, or maybe it was a couple of months later. She reached out saying that she had some messages that came through to her. First, in that message, she said that she's psychic, even though she doesn't like labels, and that there were some messages if I was open to hearing them. And of course I was. So we spoke, she gave me the messages, and then everything kind of progressed from there. And then I ended up doing the session with them, and they both do the session. I have to say that doing the psychic Reiki session is for me anyway, especially because this was during this year of transition, which we're only a little over halfway through the year, so there's a lot more to go still. But for me, it brought a lot of things to the surface. It helped me transform a lot of things. And it also gave me some direction of how to continue along my soul's journey, my soul development. And that I'm taking to heart. And that's part of the reason why I'm here now, even though I am still a bit uncomfortable. But vulnerability, using my voice, and some other things as well, are the things that I'm really, really playing with right now. And so I actually have a question to pose for you out there. What does vulnerability actually look like on a daily basis, as a daily practice? How does it look like in your life? Because up till now, and I know that being on the show, starting the show, is me being vulnerable, but up till now, I thought that vulnerability meant crying all the time and being a victim, and that's not something that I wanted to be. And at the same time, as a Pisces moon, I've been very, very sensitive and very empathic. And I thought that I'm supposed to develop a thicker skin and to grow out of being so sensitive. And so that's why I'm a little bit confused here with how to be wholly vulnerable. So can anybody answer that for me? I would really, really love to hear what you have to say. I know I don't have the phone lines open right now. I hope to in the future. But if you're listening to this in the archives, like on iTunes or wherever else this ends up going, if you can write in the comments, I will read it. I'll figure out how to access it. I'm sure it's not that difficult. Oh, and then also, I'm also interested for any other stories out there of how your Saturn return went. Was it really, really difficult for you? Was it an easy ride? What were some of the major changes and shifts that ended up happening that year for you? I love to hear all of these stories. I just soak them up. So if you're feeling called to share, I would love to hear it, love to read it. And if you're open to putting it in a comment section, that's great. And if not, I'm going to open the phone lines at some point once I figure out how, and also once I realize that there are people who are actually listening. So let me know if you want me to do that. Okay, so let's start winding down here. I did want to cover vulnerability a little bit more, because this is something that I'm really fascinated with right now, and I'm really trying to wrap my head around and wrap my heart around, which is, for me anyway, more important, because that's where I am so totally out of my depth. But vulnerability, I think, is a really important aspect of self-development and soul development, which I guess is spiritual development. And that's why I am so serious about this, because I really believe that we are here having this physical experience on earth to experience and play, and everything that we play with in our life, in our existence, is information that's going back into our higher selves and helping us to grow at a really, really fast pace than otherwise would be if we were not embodied. And for that reason, I'm really hitting this pain point where I really physically cannot stand letting myself procrastinate on my life anymore. I don't want to be a hermit anymore, where I just kind of assume, okay, I'll do that. In the future, I'll help in this way. In the future, I just can't do that anymore. I really feel pushed, however uncomfortable I am, to grow and develop. And I think this is the push from my higher self to get me going on this soul progression, so I can gain more experience, or I can gain more experience so that my soul can progress faster. So let's end with things that I'm into right now. And for the last couple of weeks, I have totally loved rose petal tea. And all I do is I have rose petals, food grade rose petals that I had ordered in bulk, and I make a tea. Or for those who are really into tea, I think technically it's a decoction. And I will put it in the fridge, and whenever I wake up, or even in the middle of the afternoon, I'll take it out and put in some rice milk or oat milk or any non-dairy milk, and a little bit of vanilla, and sometimes a little bit of sweetener, and it just uplifts me. And in the same vein, I've been really into Damascus rose oil, and this obsession with rose is pretty recent for me. And I think it came from listening to an interview with somebody. I think it was, who was it? I think it was Jim Self. He was being interviewed by Regina Meredith, and he had talked about how roses are some of the highest vibrational plants out there, and especially the essential oil. Maybe it wasn't Jim Self. I don't remember exactly who it was. But once I heard that, I thought, okay, I'm going to do rose everything. Rose petal tea, rose oil. I am wearing a rose quartz bracelet, which doesn't come from the flower, but I haven't really been into floral scents before, but now I'm just putting rose oil everywhere. And it actually smells pretty darn good, I have to say. And then some other things that I'm really into right now are keeping pocket stones in my jeans. So I have a selenite pocket stone in one pocket, tends to be on my right side, and then tourmaline, a more grounding stone, in my left pocket. And then finally, the other thing that I've been really into lately, and I already finished this book, but I really do enjoy it. So it's called Accidentally on Purpose, Tripping Through Life with Regina Meredith. So if anyone else out there wants to read it, I think that it's a really approachable book from a really lovely lady. She's an interviewer. She used to be a broadcaster, and her spiritual life is just so fascinating. And I love the way that she writes about it in her book. It's very down to earth. So that about rounds out the show. Again, as we grow here, I do hope to open up the phone lines to callers. So stick around for that. Let me know if you are listening. You can hit the like button. I'm sure there's a like button somewhere. And that'll let me know that there's some interest here. Also, right now, this Tuesday rhythm is feeling pretty good. So expect me back here again Tuesday of next week. And if that ever changes, of course, I will let you know. And take good care. Bye.